Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court with Krissy. Third week in a row, and it must be a charm. Another family and small claims court. This time, the sister-in-law says she is owed $15,000 for her hospice care services provided to the family matriarch. Spoiler alert: her husband was killed in prison, her trailer burnt down. She might have gone to school for something lawyer, and she's going to appeal. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Oh, yeah, though.
Okay, so.
Traffic signs indicate
You got
All right, I do hear a lot of background.
I'm on now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Glover Selby, I need you to turn your camera on as well.
Ain't hear nothing.
Let me see. There you are.
Hello.
Are you in a location where we can conduct a trial? I did hear a lot of background noise. Miss Glover Selby, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I hear
Okay.
you now.
Are you in an area where we can conduct a trial? We do need you to be seated with no background noise.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. All right, let me get you all to raise your right hands. Thank you. And do you all swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Affirm.
All right, and Miss Khadijah Glover?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what we will do, I'll have an opportunity to at least witness the format of a trial. What we're going to do is allow Ms. Joanne Jackson to present her case. Ms. Jackson, you will tell me what amount you're asking the court for, why you're asking that for that amount, and then we will discuss the evidence that you have to support your claim. And then we will turn it over to Ms. Glover and Ms. Glover Selby to either ask questions of you, Ms. Jackson, or you all can give me your testimonies as well. And then Ms. Jackson will have an opportunity to question whoever has testified on behalf of the defense. Then we will close with arguments if you all want to sum up the things that you have heard throughout the trial. Okay, any questions before we get started?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right, Ms. Jackson, you can start by telling me what amount you're asking for and why you're asking for that amount from Miss 1 second, you all. I do think the parties are back. Let me see if I can get them out of the way really quickly. Miss Ritchie, can you unmute for me real quick?
All right, thank you, Anna. You do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my apologies, Miss Jackson, but I am ready for you now. If you can tell the court what amount you're asking for and why you're asking for it from Miss Glover and Miss Glover Selby.
And I'm asking for that amount because there was agreement between,
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
What amount is it?
I'm sorry. I asked for, $15,000
Okay,
and that's for, caretaking hospice care.
okay, caretaking hospice care of whom?
Ms. Glover and caretaking also her brother, Gary, Pope.
Okay, when you say Miss Glover, just so I can be sure to
Miss Dorothy
understand.
Glover.
Okay, so not a defendant. This is someone else. Miss
This
Dorothy.
is, deceased. She's deceased.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And you said, and who was the other person that you cared for, you said?
Her brother Gary Pope, that she was his caretaker before her years before her getting ill with ovarian cancer.
Understood. All right. And tell me why Miss Khadijah Glover and Miss Glover Selby owe you for that care.
Because Miss Khadijah Glover is Miss Dorothy Glover's daughter, and they have taken over her estate since her death. And we had an agreement before her death that I was to be paid, and Miss Dorothy Glover made a statement to Nicole Glover for me to be paid for my services. And I was given information from her VA's deceased father benefits.
Who's?
I'm sorry. I was given benefits from Nicole Glover and Miss Dorothy Glover, deceased, which is Miss Glover's husband, Dorothy Glover's husband, Miss Selby's father.
All right, I'm not
Sorry.
following. There's a lot of different names here. Okay, so my initial question, for
Okay.
the care of Dorothy Glover and Mr. Gary Pope, you're stating that Miss Khadijah Glover owes you the money because she is in charge of Dorothy Glover's estate.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And then you're saying that Miss Nicole Selby Glover owes you the money for what reason?
Because I spoke to her about me being paid for my services, and her mother also told her to make sure I was paid for my services as well. And
Okay, so just so you all know, I don't know the parties, okay? So
okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not
Okay.
familiar. So
Okay,
when
I'm
you
sorry.
saying her and she, I
Okay.
don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who Miss Nicole
Okay.
Selby Glover's mother is, okay?
Okay. Miss Selby Glover's mother is Miss Dorothy Glover.
Gotcha. Okay.
She's deceased since
Okay.
October 27 of 2022.
So Miss Nicole Selby Glover is Dorothy Glover's daughter. And you're
Correct.
stating that Miss Nicole Selby Glover owes you money. Okay, tell me again now that I know who the parties are.
Based on our conversation, we didn't have a written agreement, but we had a verbal agreement that I was to be paid for my services. And also Ms. Dorothy Glover, before her death, told Ms. Khadijah Glover to make sure that I was paid for my services and for her to contact Department of VA administration, because her husband is deceased and Miss Dorothy Glover was receiving his benefits, which and they would have paid for her care. And also she was receiving Medicare and Medicaid. Also, they would have paid for her care, not out of their pockets, through the government assistance program, because that's the kind of work I do. And I have doing this for over 20 some years. And I'm now here working with my father. He's have prostate cancer, and I'm also taking care of somebody now with liver cancer. So this is my profession, and they have known that I've worked this profession for many years.
Gotcha. Okay, so from what I'm hearing, you're stating that you were supposed to be paid out of Miss Dorothy Glover's husband's VA benefits. Is that what you stated?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And how did you get to the amount of $15,000?
Well, Your Honor, actually, it's really more than that, because when I looked at the state of Georgia for the pay of for that benefits there is like $4,000 a month. And I was doing 24 hours service, 7 days a week with Miss Dorothy Glover, as well as her brother Gary Pope, and without even leaving, because I was living in another state and I came down there in from August until December and never left for the whole 4 months, there for her surgery. I was there for her doctor's appointment. I was there asking questions to the doctors. I was there when sat there for her surgery, stayed the night after her surgery, sat there because she had she had ovarian cancer. So they did a debulking surgery that's trying to eliminate the cancer that was inside by scraping it. So I was
Okay.
there. I was there for that surgery and spent the night there. And before her surgery, I was there with her going to her chemo appointments. And I was there with her to her doctor's appointments, because Miss Dorothy Glover wanted me to be in the room and not Miss Nicole Selby, which is her daughter, because she didn't ask questions. She wasn't involved with her mother's care or talking to the doctors. And with my profession of doing hospice, that was my fourth hospice care patient. So I was there taking care of all that, work with her for her most important part of her surgery as well as her chemo, and
Okay.
stayed there for months doing that work. And I stayed at 24 hours. Nicole Glover or Miss Khadijah Glover, they never came and prepared food. They never came there, did any laundry for her. Her mother was not able to take care for herself or her brother during this time, because she was suffering from stage 4 ovarian cancer during that time.
Okay. So you tell me that 4,000 a month is the amount that you looked up online. What was the agreement for payment? How much
But
was the amount that you were supposed to get paid? What
I
did
was
you agree
supposed,
to?
what
Yes.
agreement was for me to get, yes, for the $4,000 a month, and also $2,000 for Mr. Pope, because he was on Medicaid, but I was told by Miss Dorothy Glover that they wouldn't give him care for home care services. So
Okay.
right,
So
so they want to
six
get Yeah, so they won't give him care for care services. And I was able, and like I said, it's also a government program. So they knew this because 3 days after Miss Dorothy Glover's death, Nicole Shelby sent me a flyer showing that family and friends could get paid. And then she called me and told me, so next time you won't work for free, because she did that after her mother's death, feeling that I was not able to get any pay for my work because now her mother was deceased. And
Okay. So 6,000 a month, it was the agreement.
yes, ma'am.
And how many months did you work?
Well, I worked there for 4 months from August to December.
August of what year, ma'am?
I'm sorry, August of 2021 until December of 2021. Round the clock care, never left, never took a leave, didn't see my children or my grandchildren in those length of time. I wasn't even going to my own doctor's appointment, which I suffered from anxiety and depression. And I was there during that time, never left until I tried to go for other, reasons and came right back, like taking a plane. And Miss Witch and Miss Khadijah Glover was the one that, affiliate the ticket for me to get the ticket, but I paid for the ticket out of pocket for me to do a round trip to come back to the hospital to be there with her mother. Well, that's her grandmother / mother because she was legally adopted by Miss Dorothy Glover.
Okay. So you're stating that for 4 months, you were pretty much around the clock
Yes, I was.
there. Okay. All right. And do you have any evidence to support your claim?
No, I didn't have any evidence, Your Honor. I never thought that it was going to come to this point of being, in court, which when you're dealing with family members, I know in this family over 35, 40 years of being with this family. So I didn't think to, did an agreement. It don't did anything in writing, but I also didn't have my paperwork when I was documenting because I moved and came to New York and to be here with my father. So I didn't bring the documents where I was writing down the time I was giving her medication, the times, for me being there and, documents, but I have, like the text messages, from Miss Glover of me being there and she texting me at night, asking me, was her mother okay? Was everything okay? And, so I was answering back, she was concerned. I'm not saying she wasn't a concerned person because, then we had a good relationship during that time, was I love you. I thank you so much for being there with my mother, taking care of her and, and all these things. But then soon as her mother passed, it's like all this animosity came up from a situation that happened back in 2006 where my daughter had made an allegation against Miss Nicole Selby's son of a sexual assault.
Yes. All right, let me ask this, because I'm listening for the agreement, right? That's basically, I'm seeing this as a breach of contract case where you're stating you gave services that you were supposed to be paid for and you were not paid for. So my
Yes.
question is, during the 4 months that you were there, did you receive any compensation?
No, I didn't see any compensation because, there's supposed to have been something work on with the VA. And I know it takes time, to get those payments. They don't come right away because I have worked for other companies and, I have went like maybe about a year without being paid and I was able to get all the back pay.
Okay. And what work was done with the VA to try to get those payments? Who was submitting that information?
Well, Miss Selby gave me all the information, which is Miss
Miss
Dorothy Glover.
Selby.
Yes, Nicole Selby.
Okay. She was
Nicole,
giving. Okay, so
yeah.
Ms. Nicole Selby is the party that was in charge of submitting for payment through the VA
Yes, ma'am.
while Miss Dorothy Glover was alive or after?
While she was alive. Because
Okay.
she's the one that informed Miss Nicole Selby to go in her lockbox where she keep all her important documents to get the documents out for, the information with her father name is Charles Glover. And to get the information out from his VA, like his, his documents of his birth, his his date of birth, his numbers for the VA,
Okay.
and
I
things of
understand.
that nature. So she gave me the papers.
So do you know what happened with the VA payment?
No, ma'am, because she gave me the papers. I was making the phone calls. So
Okay.
I was told by the VA that being that I was not her biological daughter or, his daughter, that I could not call in for benefits for her. So I informed Miss Selby of that, and her mother told her to make sure she took care, the information and for me to get paid for the VA service.
All right. I'm going to turn it over now to let me start with Miss Khadijah Glover first, just to let me know, just a simple question. Let me know if you have any questions for Miss Jackson. Just questions.
I do actually.
Okay, sure. What's the
So,
first question?
earlier in testimony, you said that my grandmother said that she informed me to get you paid through the VA.
No, I never said you. I said Miss Nicole Selby. The agreement was between me and her. I never talked to you about any money agreement because it was between me, your grandmother, and Nicole.
Okay, so yeah. So at what point exactly? Because I know you said, I think you just had the dates confused, not even. So you said earlier that you worked from August 21 to.
Okay, Miss Glover, I'm not sure. I don't think you're in a stable environment. Yours is going in and out. So we heard the beginning of your question, but not the end of it. Are
Can you
you
hear me
somewhere
now?
with stable internet? Yes.
Okay, yeah, I had to turn my Wi-Fi off. I'm sorry. I
Okay,
was
no
saying
problem.
that she said earlier that she worked from August 21 to December 21.
That's what my notes
Um,
say.
I think her dates were confused because
Are you asking a question? Remember, this is just an opportunity
okay,
for
that's the
questions.
question. Okay, so
Yes.
my question was at what date did she start working? Like when did the employment part start?
When I came there, August the 3rd of 2021, which, like I said, you was never involved with my agreement. It was between me, your grandmother, your slash mother, and Nicole. So
Okay,
Nicole
so
knew that I
Miss
was.
Jackson, just
Okay,
answer the questions.
okay.
So you
okay,
said
so
August 3rd, 2021 is the answer to the question?
Yeah, August 3rd of 2021 when I went down there, Your Honor.
Okay.
to December 2021. I mean, you said from August 2021 to December 2021.
No, I never gave a date for December. I just said from August to December of
From August.
2021 of
Oh, so
2021.
so you're only seeking compensation for 4 months, but you was there roughly about 16 months.
16 months.
I'm asking because you said you just said from August to December. So I'm asking, is this from December? You're saying August 2021 to December 2021 or August 21 to another December?
No, not for another December. Of course not.
So
So from
December 2021, correct?
December
Right,
2021.
Okay.
right.
Okay, so during those, so it's not even that part of the argument. So I just wanted to clarify those dates that you said that's when you started working. And I had another question in reference to, you said that you never, that she used, Nicole Glover Selby was told to do the paperwork on behalf of you receiving your benefits.
Yes.
Why didn't Dorothy Glover ever do the paperwork herself to receive benefits? Because on the dates of August 2021 to December 2021.
That's testimony.
Okay.
Just questions.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
you know why Miss Dorothy Glover did not do the paperwork on her own, Miss Jackson, while she was alive?
Because Nicole Glover Selby had been taking care of her personal business for over the last 10 years or better.
Any other questions, Miss Glover?
Okay, so last question. So so you've said that I didn't have any type of knowledge about any type of agreement or compensation when it came to you receiving the benefits. I want to know, where did you get the assumption from that I was over Dorothy Glover's estate, that I received I was on a docket for lawsuit and payment? Where did you get the assumption that I was over her estate?
Because you and your mother moved into her home, and you all know all her business according to her estate, that you all took over the estate, although she died without a will. So you
No,
all,
she's asking, where did you get that assumption from?
that's where I get the assumption from, because they took over the estate, her estate, money-wise, and also the home.
We moved in her house, so that's where we got the assumption from, that we took over her estate.
That's taking over her estate when you move in the home.
No, it's legal.
Hold on, Miss Glover.
That's
You will have your opportunity to give me every piece of information that you would like, but I do have to make sure that this trial is conducted in an orderly fashion. So this is the opportunity just for questions of the plaintiff, okay? All right, but maybe write some notes, make sure that write down whatever it is that you are attempting to testify to, because you will have your opportunity. Let me turn it over to Ms. Selby Glover. Glover Selby, I apologize. Let me change your name. That way it'll help me to say your name correctly. Give me 1 second. Ms. Glover Selby, do you have any questions for Ms. Jackson?
The question for Ms. Jackson is, when did me and you have a conversation about money?
When we had conversations about in August, because I asked
Okay, tell me
you.
the years, so I can
I'm
keep up
sorry,
with the
in August of
information.
2021, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Glover Selby.
Okay, the next question is, when did I send you, what year did I send you the pamphlet because you stated that I sent you the pamphlet after my mom passed.
Yes.
So what's the question?
The question is, that isn't even a question for the pamphlet, ma'am, because I have proof of
Do you have a question?
The next question is, when did my mom tell me to give you money? When did we discuss that?
Nicole, we was in your mother's room and she informed you to go into her closet to get the documents from your father from his VA information. And you went there, you got the documents, and you brought the documents to me, telling me to go ahead and take care of the information.
Ms. Jackson, let me interrupt you. The question was when, ma'am?
Oh, when? Okay. Like I said, Your Honor, back in August of 2021. I don't have the exact dates,
Okay.
but it was within that time frame.
Just my last question.
You can ask as many questions.
Why did I have to go get the documents if she was walking and breathing and healthy August of 21? Why did I have to go get the paperwork?
Because your mother always puts you to do everything, Nicole, and she orders you to do everything when you're around. And so why you went to go get the documents.
No problem.
All right. Any other questions for Ms. Glover or Ms. Glover Selby?
No.
All right, Ms. Khadijah Glover, any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I am going to turn it over to, does that complete your testimony, Ms. Jackson?
Can I question them for the questions I have?
Well, I need to make sure that they're going to testify first. All right. Ms. Glover, Khadijah Glover, do you have anything you want to offer as far as testimony or evidence?
Yes, I do want to say I do 100% agree with Miss Jackson. My Aunt Joanne was there with my grandma. She was helping my grandma. However, there was no point at time. I don't know when a distinguishment came from her being there as a concerned family member. Literally, legitly, wholeheartedly thought Aunt Joanne is just here. That was nothing out of the norm for her to come stay with my grandma, help my grandma cook. That's what I know my Aunt Joanne for. We joke about it all the time. Aunt Joanne has the most hospitality ever. She says she likes to cook. So I don't know when it turned from Aunt Joanne who comes, stays, she come this year, you might not see her for a year, come another year, stay for a week, 2 weeks, this, that, and the third. I don't know when it turned from Aunt Joanne just staying, helping her mother-in-law to she was there working for compensation. As she said earlier, I knew nothing of this. I had plenty conversations with my Aunt Joanne every single day. She did. She used to cook. She asked me for requests. Oh, what do you want to cook? Same thing she do when I go to her house, go visit her at her house. So to me, that was nothing out of the norm. Did not know she was working for compensation. However, my grandma was, that's why I was asking her to clarify the dates earlier, because August of 2021 to December 2021, my grandma was healthy, living. My grandma didn't receive her last chemo treatment until August 15th of 2022. After she received her last chemo treatment of August 15th, 2022, then her health declined. That's when my Aunt Joanne stepped in. She did play a bigger role. However, my mom was there around the clock. The messages that she submitted as far as my mom, like, oh, how is she doing? This, that, and the third. The timestamps are blanked out. However, the messages that I sent in for our evidence, the timestamps are there. It's 11 at night, 12 at night after my mom went home for the night. So if she's there all day and then she go home at night, you were living there. And I also want to add that another reason she was there longer than she usually is. However, the working 4, 5, 6 months, however long she said, 24 hours around the clock, no, that wasn't the case. The evidence that was submitted also shows she was going to North Carolina and South Carolina, wherever she lived at. She was going these places. She was going, living her life as she pleased. She was not an employee working around the clock and didn't have time for food and didn't have time to go to her own doctor's appointments. She was leaving and coming and going when she pleased. So that's why I don't know when the employment came. Her kids, who are my cousins, they came, they used to come, stay for a week, stay for a couple of days. We were all family. I submitted evidence of it was parties, Thanksgiving. She cooked for Thanksgiving because my grandma wasn't able to. We was having birthday party celebrations that she was cooking for as well. So that's why I don't know when it turned from family to compensation. I have no idea when that loop happened.
Okay. Let me ask you this. When did your mother/grandmother pass away?
My grandma died October 27th of 2022. So from August the 15th, after she received her last infusion, they said that she basically became too frail. She couldn't receive chemotherapy anymore. So after August 15th of 2022, her health declined quickly. As you can see, from August to October, she passed. So that's roughly a month or two. It didn't take long. However, prior to that, as long as she received her chemotherapy, she was alive, well, driving, all of these things. And me nor my mother, well, sister, had any type of, we couldn't go to the bank, we couldn't handle her business. She did all of those things herself. So if she wanted Miss Joanne Jackson, if that was what they agreed upon, her receiving benefits from the VA, that was nothing that any of us could do. She would have to do that. And lastly, because I feel like I'm rambling. However, we are not in charge of her estate. My grandma did have a house and we did move into the house. However, nothing, because it's more siblings. That's what I'm saying. It's more siblings than just me and her. So if she did want to receive compensation, I don't get why all of the siblings aren't on the docket, just me. As she said earlier, I am a grandchild, which is just like her kids are grandchildren too. It's 15 of us while all the grandchildren are on the docket. I feel as though I'm the only one that has a legitimate job. That's why I was placed on here. Because she said I have no knowledge of compensation at all.
I got it, Ms. Glover. My question is, was this estate ever probated?
Was what? One more time?
Was Miss Dorothy Glover's estate ever probated?
No, never.
Oh, there is no executor or
No
administrator.
executives have been assigned to her estate. We literally just moved in her house. We all the siblings agreed that we moved in. We covered the bills. I have received no compensation from my grandma.
It's answer my questions, Ms. Glover.
Okay.
Okay. So no administrator or executor is the answer, correct?
No.
Okay. Before I turn it over to Ms. Selby, let me just check in with Ms. Jackson. Do you have any questions for Ms. Glover?
Like Khadija Glover, yeah, I want to ask her about when was the last time you seen me before I came there in August of 2021.
I said earlier that you would go periods of time where we haven't seen you. So prior to you coming 2021, I didn't see you for probably like a couple years before then, because you and my grandma got into it. Y'all used to do that.
Well, just answer the questions.
I can't put a time on it. I'm gonna say it was a couple years before I had seen you, before 21.
All right, next question, Ms. Jackson. Or if you have any other questions.
Yes. So you're saying that being your grandmother was not communicating during that time. So why wasn't communicating?
That's not relevant.
Oh,
Ms. Jackson, do you have another question about this contract or potential contract for payment?
Okay, no, not concerning the payment. So everything else will be going into family issues, and that's not what we're here for.
It's not what we're here for. That's what I'm trying to prevent.
Right. So I don't have any more questions for Ms. Khadija Glover, but I do have questions from Ms. Nicole Selby, because we are the one that talked about the situation.
Understood. All right, Ms. Nicole Glover Selby, would you like to offer any testimony? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Glover, you mentioned evidence. You submitted what type of evidence, just so I can see if it's relevant or if it's something that I need to see.
On the paperwork that we had received, it was a culmination of just text messages back and forth. So it was just the full text messages, timestamp everything, and not cuts and pieces and snippets. It was like just the full actual rundown, like the whole conversation.
Okay, are we having a conversation about payment for services for Ms. Glover?
No, none of the,
Okay.
it's no payment conversations, no.
Text messages about family dynamics, pretty much.
It wasn't family dynamics. The evidence that she submitted, I'm guessing it was evidence into proving that she was there. So it'll be like just text message like, oh, is she up? Did she take her medicine? And it was just basically like a back and forth, like, okay, on the way, 10 minutes, those type of things. It was just a full conversation, not snippets.
I want to make sure before I, not look at the evidence. Let me tell you why I have narrowed down the issue in this case to whether there was an agreement and a breach of an agreement. So I don't think her presence is really the issue in this case. I think it's a matter of whether there was an agreed upon amount for those times that she were present. So that's why I don't think that those documents are relevant. If we do need to revisit that, then we'll talk about the evidence at that time.
Okay,
All
so
right.
I do say one more last thing. So
Sure.
that's why I was asking about the timestamps earlier from August 21 to December 21. However, this is extending from August 21 to December 2022 or October 2022. This is way over just the 3-4 months that she's stating. Because
So let me just understand what you're saying. When you're saying that is way over, are you saying that she was there for more amount of time?
Way long. She wasn't just there the 4 months. So the 4 months
Okay.
that she's saying, August 21 to December 2021, she was there way longer than that.
Okay. So
she was there to roughly October 2022. So that's why I was wondering the timestamp that she's giving that she's suing for compensation for. My grandma wasn't even sick then. Like she had cancer, but she wasn't even sick back in 2021. She was still in bingo, this, that. So you wasn't providing hospice care during that time. That's why I was asking her to clarify her timestamps, because the times that she's saying, also that's one. And another thing, my grandma was receiving hospice care through her insurance as well.
When?
She was receiving hospice care through her insurance roughly the last month or two, or I wouldn't say the last month of living. So I'm gonna say roughly probably September 22 to October 2022, she was receiving hospice care. So
okay.
That's why I was asking for clarification of the dates of when it was that she was supposedly working and
Gotcha.
all of that.
All right. All right. And Miss Nicole Glover Selby, do you have any testimony or evidence that you would like to offer?
Okay, like my daughter stated, I honestly thought that Miss Jackson Guest was there as family because her trailer burnt down. She didn't have nowhere to go. So that's why she was honestly in Georgia, because I have pictures.
Jackson, please do not interrupt the testimony. I cannot.
I have evidence, ma'am, that I could submit. Her trailer burnt down. She had nowhere to go. So that's why she was in Georgia with us. I could get doctors to testify. Anybody knows that when you see me, you see my mom. We didn't need nobody to take care. She wasn't eating, so what was you cooking? What was you doing? So my thing was, it seemed like when my mom passed, Miss Jackson couldn't take over like she wanted to. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna take her to court. I didn't have no coverage over my mom money. My mom did her own bank runs. I could go to the bank and get a statement from the bank. My mom did all her runs to the bank. I have not one time I went in that bank. My name wasn't on nothing of my mother's. I can get proof of that.
Okay.
I don't understand where this come from. It seemed like Miss Jackson, guess, is coming after me because of what reason, I don't know. I have nothing, so I don't know why you coming after me. I don't have no estate. I have nothing.
Selby, is there anything else you want to offer? Any other evidence?
No, that I thought that she was a real true sister-in-law. My brother got killed in jail and she was the widow, so I thought that it was love. She even sent me messages loving me and stuff. I don't know where this came from, man. I'm just being honest.
All right. Ms. Jackson, do you have any questions for Ms. Glover Selby? Your device is muted. I had to mute you. You were interrupting.
Okay, okay, well, my first question is, how many months was I there?
You was here because your trailer burnt
No,
down. You had
the
nowhere to go.
question was, Ms. Glover Selby, make sure you understand the question. The question was, how many months was she there?
From my understanding, I want to say she was there off and on 2 months, off and on. About 2
All
months,
right,
ma'am.
thank
Because she
you.
was
And Miss,
going.
I got it. I got
Okay.
it. Ms. Jackson, do you have any other questions?
Yes. So are you aware that I'm a caregiver for over 20 years and that's my profession?
No, I didn't. All I know is you took care of your nephew that had a something in his stomach that you was feeding him through. I never knew you had that. I went to your college. You went to school for lawyer, something lawyer. I never knew you had a degree in taking care of patients.
All right, Ms. Jackson,
Okay, Your Honor, when she stated that about
do you have any other
the
questions?
okay, my question is, okay, was I'm there over 24 hours without leaving for 4 months?
No, you went out every day. You went to Sister Dimple's house. You went to the city hall. You went where you wanted to go. You went freely where you wanted to go.
Okay.
Get your nails done, your hair done. You went and did what you wanted to do.
Ms.
Okay,
Jackson?
did I approach you about me being paid for my services multiple times?
No, when you talked to me after my mom died, before my mom died, I sent you a pamphlet and said, you said you was taking care of Sister Dimples. This wasn't even about my mom. You was helping your friend because she fell. I said, look, you can get paid to help people in Georgia. This is what I sent you. It was nothing about my mom.
Nicole, I didn't go to Sister Dimple house until, okay, okay, we're not gonna get into that. Okay. Okay, did you give me information for your deceased father, VA information?
No, I did not. If you got information, let me answer this question. If you got information, you got it like you did 9 years ago when you stole her identity. That's how
Okay.
you
Okay, that's not a question. That's
So the answer is no, you did not give it to her.
no,
Thank you,
I
Ms.
did not
Glover
give her
Selby.
anything.
All right, Ms. Jackson.
okay. Was you informed by your mother to make sure that I was
No,
paid for my
ma'am.
services?
Oh,
No, ma'am.
Ms. Glover Selby, I need you
Yes.
to let her finish the question
Oh,
before you answer it,
okay.
so I can hear the question and the answer.
Okay.
Can you
Again,
repeat it?
did you give me information for your deceased father? No, did your mother inform you, make sure I was paid for my services?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did I prepare food, clean the house, taking care of Gary, and was doing the laundry?
I don't know nothing about helping with Uncle Gary. Yes, you did. You helped with Uncle Gary because I felt like you didn't have no money to pay us to stay there because you like I said, you lost your home. So you was doing stuff around there to pay for your keep.
Okay.
You wasn't paying
okay,
no rent.
hold
You
up.
wasn't paying no rent or nothing.
Hold on a second, Ms. Glover Selby. I have the answer to the question. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Ms.
Okay.
Jackson.
When exactly did my home burn down? Do you know the year?
I can look at, can I look in my message, ma'am? Can I look in my message real quick?
How about this? When was the house burned down? Let's just do that. Not to you, Ms. Selby. Ms. Jackson, can you tell us when your house was burned down? I believe that's what the information you're trying to.
June 16 of 2022, Your Honor. So that was, I had a home. I was living in.
I don't want to hear about it.
June
I
of
just asked what
2022.
was the date.
Okay, June 22.
All right, Ms. Glover Selby, were you aware that her house burned down in June of 2022?
Yes, ma'am, because she sent me, she sent the photos.
Okay.
It got built and it
All
got
right.
burnt down a month later.
So June of 2022. Is that your
Yes,
understanding?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Jackson.
Okay, was you there at the hospital when your mother had her surgery?
I wasn't at the hospital. My mom had her surgery.
Okay. That's okay. All
No,
right,
I
Ms.
wasn't.
Jackson.
No.
Okay. When you went with her to a doctor's appointment, did you ask questions concerning her care?
Yes, and I'm getting a state. Yes, the answer is yes.
Thank you, Ms. Selby.
Okay. Were you taking care of your mother's financial business over 10 years?
No,
Okay. Did you and your mother had a bank account that you and her name was on?
no, never.
Okay. 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 When you sent me the flyer about the family and friend, you said about being paid. Why did you send me that flyer?
Because you was at that point of time you was helping Miss Dimples, which is your friend, and she was getting, she was getting weak, and Uncle Gary was still there, and you was still staying with us. So I said, you can help, you know, we could probably get help with Uncle Gary. It was never about my mom. Never.
Okay.
All right, next question.
Let's see. Okay, so did you make a statement to me saying that next time don't work for free?
Never. I would never talk to you like that. Never.
Okay, so why would you send a flyer if there was no kind of agreement for me being paid?
Because
Ms.
I saw
Jackson,
the,
she just answered the question about why
Okay,
she sent it.
okay. Was your mother able to prepare food for herself and Gary when she was responsible for taking care of him during the time I was there?
So that's August of 2021 to December of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
yes, she was. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. She
Okay.
took care of herself. She didn't get weak
Yeah,
until
got the answer.
September of
2022. Ms. Jackson?
Okay. Okay. Wasn't she getting treatments during the time of September during December 2022?
Wait, I'm sorry. I thought she passed in October of 2022.
She did.
No, 2021. I'm sorry. 2021.
no.
Yeah.
The time that she got out
Okay.
of all, if she got 15 treatments, you went to 3.
Okay, Ms. Selby, Glover Selby, what was
Yes,
the answer
ma'am.
to the question? You said
Yes,
yes
she
or
got
no?
yes, she got treatment during the time.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
Okay. Did your mother have difficulty walking up and down the stairs because of her breathing, that she wasn't able to come up and down because of her breathing issues?
No,
About the time frame you're talking about, Ms.
no.
Jackson?
Okay. And okay, so did I stay at the hospital with her when she had her surgery?
I stayed at the hospital where you was there when they took her in, but I relieved you and I was there when she woke up and stuff.
Next question.
We both did it, not just you.
Okay, Ms. Selby, next question.
Okay, Your Honor, I mean, that's all I have concerning the situation. And like I said, I am a caregiver.
Hold on, Ms. Jackson.
Okay,
This is not,
okay, that's
I will
enough.
give you your
Okay,
opportunity. You're actually
okay,
going to have the last remarks because you are the plaintiff. So
okay.
now I am going to hear from, let me just ask Ms. Glover, do you have any closing argument or anything that you want to say? And I just want to make sure that everyone is aware where I am narrowing down the issue. What I am listening for is a contract, an agreement for payment. I'm listening to see if I have the proper parties in the courtroom today for that particular potential agreement. So if you have any argument or any last things that you want to say regarding those issues only, I am not interested in the family dynamics. I am aware that obviously there, are some issues here that we're in court. So I don't want to exasperate that and, continue that on, understanding that there is some conflict there. So I just want to hear any closing argument regarding the alleged contract and whether the proper parties are here in court. All right. Ms. Glover, you have an opportunity if you'd like to say any remarks.
In closing, I do just want to say I do understand that she's saying that, she feels as if she's owed compensation for taking care of my grandmother. I will not argue the fact she was there. However, like I said, I didn't know it was for compensation. I knew anything about a contract. I don't know anything about a breach of contract. If she was supposed to be compensated for her services, my grandmother was more than able to get her compensation, especially during the time frame of 2021, August 2021 to December 2021. She was more than able. Me nor my mom have any type of, we're not on any accounts. I think what she was referring to is my mom having control and being a part of my grandma's money. My mama used to, she had like her online Georgia Power. My grandma didn't know how to use computers, so my mom did go online and pay her bills for her, but access to her money, no, none of us had that. So yeah, that's just my closing.
Thank you, Ms. Glover. And I will also allow you, Ms. Glover Selby, if you would like to make any closing remarks again about the specific issues that I have narrowed this case down to.
As I stated, I thought it was love, but I have nothing.
All right, and Ms. Jackson, with you being the plaintiff, I will hear from you last about again the issues that I have narrowed the case down to.
Okay, Your Honor, I want to speak up. Miss Nicole Glover and myself had several conversations about me being compensated for my services. She informed me that her mother had the paperwork to be for caregiver service because her sister, which is Monique Williams, asked her mother about being her caretaker, but her mother didn't do it for Monique because Monique wasn't going to do the hours, and she was not going to be committing fraud by letting her daughter take the services. So that's what she told me, that her mother had the paperwork for this to be done. And she also, like I said, gave me the benefits, gave me the information from her deceased father. For me to be paid from the VA. She was giving me the documents, like I say, of his, the numbers that you have in the military for your identification. I had his date of birth. I had all the information she gave me because she didn't want to take care of the information. So I gave it back to her and told her that I was informed when they asked me who I was. I told her that I was informed that I was not able to handle that situation because I was not her immediate daughter. I was not her his biological daughter or Miss Glover's, Dorothy Glover's. So I was not able to do that for myself. So I gave her back the information, and then her mother told her to make sure I was paid for my services. Miss Glover, like I said, she went in her mother's lockbox with her keys, with many keys on there. So I never went into any of her personal stuff trying to get any documents myself. So and like I said, I have been doing caregivers, hospice care for many years. And Ms. Glover, and she was like my fourth patient, and I would go there. I would also, with the doctor, I would look up information, ask the doctors questions about her care, and ask questions. When we was there, when me and Miss Selby was there in the room at times, she would be in her video game, playing video games. And her mother stated to me that she never, when she goes there, she never asks questions about care. That's why she wanted me to be there because of my experiences with cancer patients. I had, like I said, I did hospice for 4 cancer patients. I'm now here doing hospice for someone to have stage 4 liver cancer. I'm here with my father that has prostate cancer, and I'm also being paid for his care. So family members does get paid, but like I said, according for a family member, me and Miss Dorothy Glover didn't speak to over 4 years because of her narcissistic personality.
Okay, Ms. Jackson.
Okay.
I think I
But
was
we didn't
very
talk.
clear about what I was listening to.
I understand. I forgot that part, Your Honor. But so I haven't seen them over the 4 years before I came there. So I came there as there for my assistance with her care to ask questions because of Miss Selby not understanding the doctor's information. Because when she was told her mother had ovarian cancer, she told the family member that her mother had gastric cancer. So when I went to the doctor after I did my research on gastric cancer and had the information to ask the doctors about her, about her care, about her getting palliative care and all those questions, and about her the chemotherapy she would get. So when they would give her chemotherapy, I will also go and look up the information, like
Ms.
how this is
Jackson,
going to
I
affect her.
don't want to interrupt you, but I narrowed the issues down
Okay, I
to
said, yeah, but I'm just saying
whether there was
what
a
I did.
contract.
Right,
Remember?
okay. So
Okay,
that's
do you
what they
understand
said.
what, Ms.
Yes, we
Jackson?
had a verbal contract. I'm sorry, Your Honor, getting to that. But yes, we had a verbal contract, and I didn't think that I needed to write things down because, I knew them over 35 some years. So I didn't, think to get a contract in writing. I didn't, write dates and everything that was down. I just wrote dates down there when I was giving her medication round the clock when she, was in her last stages of her cancer, Your Honor. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you all. I understand that this was not the best day for you all, and I do appreciate your ability to pull it together and have this trial under the emotional circumstances. I have listened to all the testimony. There, of course, was no evidence given, but I do find that Ms. Jackson has not met her burden of proof in that there was a contract between Ms. Khadijah Glover or Ms. Nicole Glover Selby. I in no doubt hear and believe that you took great care of your mother-in-law, but I do not find that they are responsible individually for any payment to you. So I am going to issue an order in favor of the defendant. And Ms. Jackson, you do have appeal rights. You can appeal my order within 30 days to the Superior Court or the State Court of DeKalb County, okay?
Okay, Your Honor, yes, I will appeal. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. You all have a wonderful afternoon.
Okay.